I think there is. Philippines is what I would term as they are now caught between a rock and a hard place. Now, rock hard, that's actually a good thing. Philippines is in a good position in terms of their GDP. I mean, everyone has seen those figures coming out. It's probably one of the best performers in the world right after India. It's right up there with China. So in terms of growth, that is having a great story. Now, this is where we are all grappling with. I mean, if that is happening so well in terms of their GDP, why in the world is the peso dropping so much? Why in the world is the stock market probably the worst in the world at this moment, right? So here's one thing I would like to put in. Let's look at the current account deficit. That's probably one of the main reasons why people are actually losing confidence. So it can be seen as a good thing that imports are really increasing, almost increased, I think, 50% year on year. But at the same time, because imports are rising so much faster in terms of imported inflation, that's, I think, the one key people are not looking at. So that's probably the reason why the peso is dropping at this point.
A very good point you're making. We did take a look at the quality of the imports we're taking in, just so, to kind of stem the panic that's arising. And we did see that it's a lot of like machineries, a lot of things to support this infra push, and a lot of goods for capital formation. So all in all, would you say that this current account deficit widening is pretty much really priced in already? I mean, the government has been warning us that this was going to happen, and they did say, you know what, don't panic. Should we agree to listen to the government on that?
Yes, and that's the good side of it, all right? Meaning to say that because of domestic spending, or rather domestic consumption, that part is actually going up. But there's another part that we're not seeing. So in terms of what I term as imported inflation, so when there's oil prices are rising, that's probably one of the reasons why I would see that inflation is moving up. So we got to balance two sides. When it comes to inflation, two things are important. I term it as internal inflation and external inflation.
Correct.
Right? So internal inflation is a good thing in terms when people are spending, but I want to look a little bit in terms of external inflation. So external meaning is being caused by other factors. Oil prices being one of them.
Okay, I was just going to say.
So that's one of the key things that we need to look at in totality when we're trying to make sense of the current account deficit.
Okay, so at least that with the current account deficit, no worries, no reason to panic at the moment, yeah?
No reason to panic at the moment, but we have always got to see the underlying factors. So I think that's where we go slightly deeper into the data to understand that, hey, although there's a $3 billion deficit at this point of time, there are reasons that causes for it. So I think overall, Philippines is in an excellent shape.
Okay, excellent shape, but we do have even the government saying that at least in the near term, we are bound to see inflation actually even rising before tapering off to be within their limit again by year end. Do you see this exact phenomena happening?
Yes, and currently it is already slightly above their band of 2 to 4%. I think it came in about 4.3% recently. So inflation is really like now the story. All right, so what are the people thinking? What are the analysts thinking? It is really a growth factor. The answer is yes at this point of time, but I don't foresee BSP actually raising rates when they're going to be meeting in May 10. So I would actually say that although I know there's an overwhelming, story in the sense that, oh yes, they're probably going to raise 25 basis points when they next meet, I just don't think so for the second quarter.